Welcome to our weekly Q&A show where we answer submitted questions live on YouTube on Tuesdays at 2 p.m.
Well, hello and welcome to our Tuesday Q&A show where we answer questions that you all send to us through different medium. We get questions through Instagram and Facebook and even through snail mail, all kinds of ways. But the best way to contact us, if you do have a question, is go to our whitewaterguidebook.com site. If you send us a question through Instagram and I'm reading it while I'm, out for a walk, I forget about it sometimes. And I don't have a good way to email you back and say, hey, here's the show. We want to answer it. So I highly recommend checking out or asking us questions through Whitewater Guidebook. And you just go to any page on Whitewater Guidebook. This is the Middle Fork page. I'll make this bigger. And under Gear Garage, just click ask a question or comment. And I know this message bar is small. There's actually a question about this week, and I'm working on it. Somebody sent me some hints on how to make it better. I'm not a tech guru. I know how to do some web stuff, and I need to get a new form. But in the meanwhile, you can write the email somewhere else, edit it, make it look beautiful, and then paste it in here. If you try writing it here, it's going to be kind of annoying. So thank you, everybody who's asked questions this way. This helps us catalog them, respond to them. If you ask questions any other way, it's fine. It just might get missed. So welcome to the show. I'm going to answer questions I already have. But if you have more questions, just throw them in the comments, and I'll try to get to the questions that come up. So the first one is, so how does a Class 3 boater graduate to running some Class 4? and I'm sure you would as well, recommend boating with more experienced boaters. Seems like a no-brainer, but you and I both know how some folks can quickly get overconfident in their abilities. I enjoy getting you weekly Whitewater Guidebooks. Thanks. That's an email that the Whitewater Guidebooks are weekly emails that we send, which is stuff we like. I don't do them myself. Somebody else does. He does a great job with them. Anyway, perhaps you consider talking about how to graduate from Class 3 to Class 4 for all your viewers. So in the beginning, the person who asked the question says, I'm sure you'd recommend boating with more experienced boaters. Obviously, like that's a way to definitely get better. The more experienced boaters are going to have, really nice insights, have good advice, be safety for you. But you're not always going to have a more experienced boater to go with. You're not going to always have that person. So a couple ways. One is take some classes. We offer classes like this, and we teach a class called the Class 4 Rowing School for this specifically. And the idea is that we're not making you a better individual boater. We're teaching you how to work with other boaters to provide safety. So if you run a Class 4 rapid and you make a mistake, somebody's there to help you. And we teach people how to help each other. So a lot of getting better is being surrounded by a team that can help you if you make a mistake. If you're if you're running rivers and pushing yourself and you flip and the next boat is 5 minutes down, that's not going to help. Or nobody has the physical fitness to flip it over. So I think one thing is just boating as a group, boating as a team, I think really helps with that. Second of all, I'm going to advocate for practicing Class 4 moves and Class 3 rapids. I'm working on a Gear Garage video about this because I get this exact question a lot. Go out and just do different things you normally do. If you are running a river and you're running the same line every time, you're not getting better. There are people that can run in Class 5 rivers that are not Class 5 boaters because they've memorized the lines, the strokes they're going to take, everything to run the Class 5 river. So I'm going to say, try different lines out, learn how to read water. Instead of going left where people normally go, try the right line. Unless, of course, it's super dangerous. So you don't want to do that. Also, catch a lot of eddies. There's surviving a rapid, there's getting down a Class 3 rapid and just sort of making it. And then there's styling it, catching 3 eddies along the way, maybe right up on a rock and come down responsibly. Try to spin in the middle of the rapid, play. So I love the term play the river, play the river, challenge yourself to do it different ways. And on your backyard run, never do it the same. Do different lines, catch new eddies, play around. And that's, I think, the best way to improve. Okay, hopefully I answered that question pretty well. If anybody out there has a better answer, please let me know in the comments. But again, I'm just going to reiterate, I get this question a lot. I love this question. Of course, going with better boaters is going to make you better. You're going to see them do a good job. They can provide safety. Of course, education is going to make you better. And as you start pushing the limits, it matters more about how you look out for each other than sometimes your individual boating. And so having a safety net around you, I think, is key as you push the limits. And then finally, like practice class 4 moves on class 3 water. And the same thing, if you want to go from 4 to 5, practice class 5 moves and class 4 water to get better. All right, next question. Groover. All right, hello and thanks for all the material. I purchased a riverbank toilet by Subway Fabrications. By the way, my favorite groover. I think it's by far the best. I'm hopeful you have a few tricks or tips to impart. The issue I'm having is that poop is getting up and under the seal, in the water hose cap, and RV cap threads. Should I use minimal water to prevent splashing while in rapids and in transit? Use ample water but add TP to thicken the soup. I know it's not a matter of overuse because it's only being used by 3 of us for 3 or 4 days. I should also mention that I'm just taking it to the RV dump. Maybe it's better to use a scat machine. Any tips are appreciated that might help because the last visit at the RV station was brutal. It's poop. Like making it soupy is good. So a lot of people say don't pee in the groover. If you don't pee in the groover, it's going to be a solid block and it's going to be hard to clean. So I like soupy. I've never found anything to be too soupy. The scat machine's going to do a better job of cleaning all the stuff out. So if you're doing the RV station, that's just the nature of groovers. Like poop gets places and you're going to have to scrub a bit and deal with it. When you take it to the scat machine, this one in particular, there's a hose inlet. Fill the thing up with water as high as you can first and then dump it. Like liquefy it, swish it around, and then dump it. And then fill it up with water again, swish it around and dump it. But I mean, it's the more you do it, the better you get. So my best advice is just make that thing of soup and have it empty out and bring lots of bleach, like bleach stuff too. Hopefully that helps. Again, the quick answer is you're going to get poop everywhere. Hopefully not on you, on the groover. It's just going to get places you don't want to get, but diluting it with water and making it a soup, I think really helps. I wouldn't add toilet paper to thicken it. I don't think I would do that. And I think maybe if it's too soupy, if you purposely add water, if it's just a little bit of poop and a lot of water, it's going to swish around a bunch. So I think just like a normal amount of pee and poop and a little swishy. You don't want it to be on the trip splashing everywhere. You don't want to minimize that. But then when you clean it, just make it soupy. All right, moving on. I saw this Moravia cataract frame oars and trailer for sale from a lady up the street from me. It's been very well taken care of and is being sold for $1,300, but it is all from 1996. I can't find info on what materials Moravia used back then and what I can use now to patch it if it needs patching. Is a boat from 1996 with all the above worth $1,300? Probably. Unfortunately, I'm not a boat sales person that knows the value of used boats. If you're getting a trailer and oars and a frame, I'd probably buy it unless it was just trash. $1,300 is a pretty good deal. To find the info on what material Moravia used back then, you should call Moravia. Like, I don't know either. Just call Moravia. They're the people that will probably know. To patch it, Type A tear aid is just the answer for everything. Type A tear aid. And then if the Moravia, if you get home, have a professional fix it. It's a pain. They're a pain to fix, or send it back to Moravia. I don't know, but like in the field, Type A tear aid is the answer. So yeah, it's probably worth $1,300, especially with a trailer, unless the trailer is just garbage, and then maybe not. Okay, Zach, thank you for the knowledge going up on YouTube. Amazing stuff. I'm new to rafting and really like oar boats. Yeah, me too. My neighbor took me out and I'm hooked. I live in North Idaho and I'm going to be running mostly day trips. My class 1 to 3, most of the class 1 to 2 to start, and learning boat handling skills. I'm sold on the Air Puma series. Yeah, there's Air Puma, sweet. My question is on AF length. So this is an example of like, it's hard to edit in that little tiny box. Just please write your emails somewhere else and then cut and paste it. And I'll eventually figure out how to make a new contact form so it's easier. Anyway, as you know, these are expensive rafts. The Airs aren't that expensive compared to a Wing or a Sotar or Moravia. I think they're a little bit less. Anyway, I'm wondering if I should go with a Puma or Super Puma. I don't really see a need to go bigger than the tube because I'll be the only person about 80% of the time. Thanks for all you do. Stay safe. I mean, if you're asking me whether you should go with the Puma or Super Puma, that's like asking, do I want a Ford F-150 or F-250? Like, depends how you're going to use it. Depends on your personality. Depends on a lot of things. Like, I don't know. If it was me, I'd go Super Puma. Super Pumas are small and they're flippy. Super Pumas are sweet boats. They're both sweet boats, but the Super Puma is less flippy. So I think if you're, the Puma has its place, but I think if it was me, I'd go Super Puma. But it's hard to know without all the context about you and your personal expectations. You send me some stuff here, but like I don't know. I go Super Puma. That's the best I can do on this one. Hope that helps. Blue Puma, who's an expert at Pumas, by the way, might have some thoughts too. So Blue Puma, if you think you have thoughts about Puma versus Super Puma, love to hear it. Yeah, hopefully that helps. Okay, have you heard of Gilly gear bags? Best river bags ever. Okay, there are a lot of best river bags ever. So I'm a little suspect. Let's go back to here. It's like Gilly gear bags. Okay. Are they really? What makes them the best? I mean, they look fine. I don't. I mean, my first instinct is that the material for the straps is pretty mediocre. It's not like bomber material, and this looks like most other gear bags. So I'm not sure what makes it better. I think it looks like a beefy zipper, which is great. I think it's tough river stuff. I'm pretty sold on these bags. So I have one of these. I have this is the mini tip. I have the big one. I think this is twice the layer. I think it's double layer. So I think this is more durable. That's a bigger, beefier zipper. I've broken my zipper and they fixed it for me. I'm sold on these tough river stuff bags. I've used mine hard. I think the design's sweet with this little metal thing here. These hoopy straps are bomber webbing straps. I mean, I just think this is the way to go. Comparing that to his Gilly one, the straps and the zipper just don't look as good. So it says waterproof material. I don't know what that means because I know water can get into that. What else do they make? Cool earth mat. That's cool. I'm sure they're great. It's hard to make the claim best bag ever. This looks pretty cool. I've never seen anything like this cool gear cube. But I'm still sold on the Tough River stuff. I think they're pretty sweet. Okay, here's a question that came up in the chat. I'm in Northeast Oregon, Wallowa, Grand Ronde, my backyard. It seems like water is really low for everything within good driving distance. Is that just me, or is the season pretty much over? I mean, Robert, it's summer. It's what happens in the summer. Like, depends. It depends what you want. I mean, I'm sure the Grand Ronde has enough water to float all summer, but yeah, when the snow melts, it's gone. The season changes. So, from Northeast Oregon, the Payets have water all summer. The lower salmon, you have Hell's. What's that big deep canyon? Hell's Canyon has water all summer. You have the Grand Ronde. I'm here in the Hood River, bit waste for me, but the white salmon's running well. But like the best rafting season is like when the snow's melting. So April to mid-June. And then, the season kind of changes to summer season, which is either dam controlled or things that have good, like, I don't know, glaciers, or it just, you can run super low, like the Grand Ronde. The Grand Ronde, you can run really low, so it works pretty well. Normal flows for what? The Grand Ronde? Normal flows for this time of year? Normally flow. So you're saying normally flows. I'm just guessing what you're saying. Are you saying normally flows for the Grand Ronde this time of year is 700, and currently the Grand Ronde is 400? I think that's what I'm hearing you say. Let's look. Grand Run river flow. See if that's, and this is at Troy. This is downstream a bit. So I don't know, the new USGS thing. Like, let's go to the old version until we're forced to use the new version. Yeah, it looks like it's lower than normal. I wonder why. Interesting. Yeah, the median. Wow, why is it so low? Did you guys have a really bad snow year out there? That's very low compared to average. Let's look at let's look at some other places in the area and see what's going on. And that's a bummer. That's low. Oh, you know what it too is, like, we didn't get much. It was a really dry spring, so maybe that has a lot to do with it. Where I live, let's see. Yeah, these new pages are really a bummer. Let's look at the old page. See what my backyard run's doing. Yeah, so normally it's a little higher here. This is below average. Yeah, maybe that watershed just melted early. I don't know. But there's a lot of stuff to boat that runs all summer. Yeah, I'm curious, Robert. Are you looking for overnight trips? I don't think, I mean, everything is pretty vague. Everything in Oregon, everything in the Northwest, everything in the world. Everything. The Middle Fork of the Salmon seems about normal. Rogue seems a little higher than normal, maybe a tidge bit higher. Yeah, the Tieton in September is gonna have water. Yep. Seemed like a snowpack, but maybe, yeah. So what happens sometimes, it was a hot spring. The Middle Fork had a huge snowpack and melted off a little bit early. But we had June rain, which brought the river, kept the flows up on the Middle Fork. But it was a pretty dry spring. Normally there's more rain in the spring, so it could be a combination of a snowpack that blew out and no rain. So, okay, cool. Hopefully that answers your question, Robert. Good question. While we're here, I'd love to talk about our sponsor, and I'm super stoked to have a sponsor for the show, GoRafting.com. And I'm pretty confident that like phone-based guidebooks are the future. I don't see us. I mean, maybe we'll carry paper guidebooks down the road, but as phones become more and more waterproof, more and more ubiquitous, once phones are now emergency communication devices. The iPhone 14 has sat texting. We're just gonna have phones with us. I'm seeing it in the real world. People are using their phones, and people have told me they download a PDF of a map, or they download like a whitewater guidebook page with the information. I've even been on the Middle Fork when people are watching a video I made about how to run low water lines while I pass by them. I was like passing by a group and they're like, "Oh, we're watching a video of you running this rapid at this flow." So people are downloading YouTube videos and watching them on the river before they run a rapid. And so I think the future is phones. It's just realistic. And phone guidebooks are where it's at, because you know where you're at. Like, it shows you the map and it's like, I'm there. And so when you're going by your camp, you're like, that is our camp. Or, hey guys, it's a mile to your camp because you know exactly where you're at. Plus, rapids change. Like, even this year on the Middle Fork, Velvet changed, Ramshorn changed. And so guides need to be ongoingly, like, not ongoing, that's a bad word, but like continually updated. So I think that having an online app where maps are that can be updated as rapids change and you know where you're at are sweet. These guides, so they have, like, if you look at they have maps to all kinds of stuff, but you can buy, like, for $50 a bunch of rivers. So let's even look at this. You get the Grand Canyon, Middle Fork of the Salmon, the Foodalafoo, which most people probably won't use. But look at all these: the Tat, Ruby Horse Chief, the Ruby Horse Thief, the Rogue, Flathead. I mean, this is a lot of rivers right here. The Wind. I think for me, I probably wouldn't use this on the Wind. Or I don't think, or the White Salmon. I don't see this as useful on day trips. Although if you're visiting a river you've never been to and nobody knows the run, I can see the value. I think most of us, though, are going to start using these for things like the Middle Fork of the Flathead, Ruby Horse Thief, the Rogue, of course, the Tat, the Grand. I used it on the Grand Canyon last year, and it was awesome. And so, anyway, thanks to our sponsor. I think that this is the future, and I feel like, they're doing the best job right now. There are some of the people trying to do this, but this is an organization run by boaters. Like, I know the people who own Go Rafting and who've made all these things, all these maps, and they're boaters. They're boaters going out, getting the information, sharing it with everybody. And it's a solid group of people. And they have a nice community of people working on these maps. So I'm pretty stoked on it. I did just see the NRS introduce something that's like competition. And I checked it out today. I just found this out today. It's a subscription service. So the NRS one is like, some, whatever it was, like 10, 15 bucks a month. I can't remember. Which seems, I don't like subscription-based things personally. So I was like, I sign up for it just to check it out, but then I'm not going to pay 10 bucks a month. Like, that's insane. I think this is a better deal with Go Rafting personally, because I just buy the maps and I own them. I don't have to pay them for the next 30 years to use them. And so I think I like the fact that you buy it for 50 bucks to get all these maps. Seems like a pretty sweet deal to me. So yeah, we'll see what happens. That one on NRS. I think they're getting data from American Whitewater, which is I think, I don't know for sure. American Whitewater, it's all volunteer-based information. It's people go out boating and they come back. It's updated by volunteers. With Go Rafting, these are people who are going out with an intention to get data for their guidebook. So I think the guidebook data is better. Personally, that's my opinion. But anyway, great dudes, great company, and I highly recommend supporting them. Gaia. Yeah, I mean, I use Gaia if I'm doing an exploratory trip where they don't have a map, so I know where I'm at on the river. I know our mileage. I have a sense of what's happening. If I need to know trails out, there's trails, like to get out, evacuation routes. So I'll use Gaia if I'm backpacking. Gaia is great. I'll use Gaia for exploratory runs. I wouldn't use Gaia in the Grand Canyon. It's not that useful to me. With Go Rafting, like if you're in the Grand Canyon, it'd be like, to me, it would say, hey, 3 miles to Crystal. Awesome. 7 miles to this particular camp we're trying to go to. Oh, cool. There's a hike here. I didn't know that. So there's tons of information. And again, as rapids change, things change, they're updating it. So anyway, appreciate the sponsorship. Keeps the show going. Thank you so much to GoRafting.com. All right, back to our questions. So we went on kind of a sidetrack there. Best river bags ever. Debatable. We'll just say debatable. All right, cat taglines. How long should taglines be off a 13-foot cataract? To me, it doesn't matter how long the cataract is. My standard answer is 6 feet is a good length. Actually, I don't think the tagline should be able to reach the front of your boat to you and be able to wrap around your wrist. And so if it's 13 feet long, or even like 11 feet long, 11 feet's marginal. I think 6 feet's the right length. What I don't want is the tagline to get, again, from the tip of the boat and be an entanglement hazard. But also, if I fall out, I want to be able to swim and grab it. So my standard answer is 6 feet. I think for a smaller cat, like 10, 11 feet, I might try to go 4.5, 5 feet if I could. I run 6 feet taglines on my 11-foot cat, and they work great. And it's a 6 foot. It's a 6 foot cam strap, but once you wrap it through the buckle and clip it on, it's actually like 5 feet 9. So it's not a full 6 feet thing, because if you use some of the strap to wrap it around. I do know that people that run the North Fork of the Payette are running like 9-foot cam straps, 9-foot taglines, and they're making a choice. If you fall out on North Fork of the Payette, you don't want to swim. The danger of swimming is gnarly. So in that case, they're taking the possible risk of entanglement in that strap, knowing that the safety from being able to grab a tagline if you swim is worth that risk. It's a cost benefit thing they've done. But this is a long way of saying my standard answer for this question is 6 feet. And I mean, Jay is the man. So if Jay says it, it's true. Except, Jay, I think we disagreed on one thing a couple weeks ago. I forgot what it was now. Oh, the length of an oar. Other than the length of an oar, I agree with Jay on everything. Okay, moving on. Do you see any value in intentionally swimming a large stretch of river to gain confidence and skill in swimming rapids? Are there any good places to do this or extra precautions to take? This question was brought about by this video. Okay. Yeah, swimming rapids is really good for you. Swimming a large stretch of river, it's not going to hurt unless you get hurt. But I think not enough people are intentionally swimming rapids to develop that as a skill. If you fall out of a boat and you swim, you need to be able to swim to shore, make progress somewhere, understand how to maneuver yourself as a body in water. And so I think being able to swim is an important thing. You can practice that by doing it. You can do it in a rescue class. You can go swim easier rapids on a run you're doing just to practice. You can swim a larger section of river. I watched this video that they shared, and let me see if I can bring this one up. Lord, they called this a mermaid lap, and guys just swim the new river in a certain. I would wear shoes. They're not wearing shoes. I'd probably wear a wetsuit, although I have no idea how cold this is. But I would say this is amazing practice. Like, more people need to be doing this. Maybe not a whole mermaid lap, but we need to feel what this is like, because when you accidentally swim, you're not mentally prepared for this, and people might freak out and not know what to do. And so having comfort in the water, I think, is crucial for anyone trying to make the leap from like easy class 3 to anything more difficult. And for anybody who's a guide or responsible for others. If you're, taking your friends down in the boat flips, you need to be swimming to your boat and jumping on, rescuing your friends. So I think if you're responsible for others, you should feel comfortable swimming. I think this is awesome. I would love to do it with these guys. They probably know the hazards in the river. So I think, I would want to go with somebody who's done this before personally to just feel more comfortable with some of the hazards. I know there's some undercuts and some weird things here. Maybe there's some weird boils. I wouldn't just blindly do it. So in terms of, are there any good places to do this? Yeah, there are. Unfortunately, without knowing where you live or what rivers you do, I can't give you specific information. And even if you said, hey, I live on the South Fork, I could tell you places I've swum a bunch on purpose, but I hate to tell you that and then have you get hurt. So I probably won't tell you where to do it. But yeah, I mean, you want to do it where there's a low risk of foot entrapments, not shallow places. You want to do it where you can self-rescue. Like if you're done doing it, you can just get out, swim to shore. You don't want there to be wood, of course, in the river. So just, responsible places. Unfortunately, I don't have a good answer for you. And again, a good rescue class is going to force you to swim a bunch. And so taking a rescue class is a great way to swim. But I think that we should be all practicing our swimming skills more than we are. Okay. Russian paddle cats. I'm super interested in Neil-style paddle cats. Why do you think they are almost non-existent in other parts of the world? I do wonder if there's a safety issue, if where the boat flips, it could hurl you into something, whereas in a raft, you would just bail. Admittedly, I don't know how the lake straps work on these, so maybe that's not an issue. I've used these quite a bit, these Russian paddle cats. And I'm going to say some stuff that's going to annoy my Russian paddle cat friends. A raft is better than a paddle cat. That's why you don't see it as much, because a raft is just better. You sit better in them. Now, the paddle cats, you are kneeling and you get really good. You're aggressive. You're paddling. You're getting really good aggressive strokes, stronger strokes than if you're in a raft, but your center of gravity is higher. If there are leg straps. If you flip, you could get tangled in the leg straps, although I felt pretty comfortable with the leg straps I was using. They run like cats. They power through things better. But a raft is just more versatile. It's just easier, I think, personally. But there are some advantages to the cat. The big advantage of the cat is if you're hiking in 20 miles, you're basically carrying just the cat tubes, maybe the frame. Like, you're not hiking a raft in 20 miles. That's just not going to happen. I mean, it could happen, but probably not. And you can't break the raft up. Like, you can take the thwarts out, sometimes the floor. Where a paddle cat, you can say, you take one tube, you take half the frame, or the people that are in paddle cats just get to put in and make a frame out of wood. So they're just carrying 2 tubes for 4 people. So the weight of the boat divided by number of people is much lower with the Russian paddle cat. It's just less stuff. And so it's I think the reason Russians use those so much is because they're hiking in 10, 15, 20 miles or doing like long portages. It's way easier to portage a paddle cat than it is a raft. But I think rafts, in my opinion, are just better, more versatile tools. And I think I'd rather R2 something than being a two-person paddle cat. But I'd rather hike in a paddle cat than a raft. The first time I used a paddle cat a bunch, it was in Honduras, and I just threw it all in a backpack and flew it to Honduras, where taking a raft to Honduras would have been really tough. So hopefully that answers your question about paddle cats. Hello, Gear Garage. This past fall, the town of Salida, in conjunction with Badfish Sup, redesigned a feature called the Scout Wave to make it better for surfing at lower flows. This section of the Arkansas is referred to locally as the Town Run and has been Class 2 staple for easy day floats and fishing. Not anyone's fault, but the new feature has created a pretty grabby hole for rafts and caught a lot of people off guard this year. During higher flows this past spring, they tried to put in a boat chute on River Left to address the issue, but with the river coming down, it has become impassable. Hopefully, they will address some of the concerns this fall to make the session usable for other groups. The videos shown below show the wave from different angles, and I'm hoping you can take a look to analyze how you'd approach this. I've seen someone downstream ferry from right to left and make it, but would be worried about getting pushed back into the hole by the flow coming down the chute. Okay, I got 3 videos to watch here. Let's roll. Let's rock this. I'll take these one at a time, and they're not in the order I sent them. Give me a second here to get this ready. Oh man, sorry, videos take me a while to get going. All right, here we go. Here's the first one. That's interesting. All the what is that? Bags of gravel to divert the water. So it goes in and falls out. And the boat surfs. Yeah, so I'm not going to call this impassable. I'm going to call this class 4 because there's it's not a hard move, but there's a consequence. So I'm going to call this. And it's how difficult is this move? I'm going to call it class 4. So let's go back and analyze what he's doing here. So first of all this pushing he's done so far is just making him tired. So like, I don't know why, like, I think people think they can build up speed, but he's already at his max speed. All this pushing is just wearing him out. So by the time he gets here, he's kind of tired. Yeah. So what I would do is float into it, I'm not pushing, and float into it. Now take one good stroke and then right here be pushing through the wave. And you can see his right oar is out of the water. His left oar actually went backward. It grabbed water. So his oars, he didn't push through the wave. He just, probably a little tired by the time he got there. And that push stroke he's taking that stroke right there, where he's at right there, needs to happen as he hits the wave. As he hits the wave, push through it. So I think this is a boating problem right here. You're not that strong pushing. I would turn around and pull through this. And right as you're hitting it, just pull through it. So I would say pushing is the problem, and the timing of his push is the problem. And why not run this backwards where you can just pull into it? You're stronger. You could also downstream ferry, but that requires a high level of skill. This isn't a place to practice your downstream ferry, because if you mess it up, you're kind of at an angle to the hole. So I wouldn't learn how to downstream ferry here, but if I was to run this very conservatively, I would break the lateral, that right lateral on a downstream ferry and try to catch that eddy on the right. There's that big eddy on the right. You could go from like, let's say left to right, break that lateral. And I bet with enough skill, let me find this. With enough skill, you could catch this eddy right here. Let's go back a sec. Like somewhere in here, there's a beautiful weakness. You could just pull across it and probably maybe even eddy out there. And I bet, and this is just from watching the video, you could probably pull and break this lateral here on the left side, but he's choosing to hit it at the biggest possible place. And Yeah, and right now it looks like he's pulling on the oars almost, which is just pulling them back in. I mean, he needs to be pushing through that wave. Okay, so again, they changed the rapids class 4. Rivers change. I don't know. That's what happens. Yeah, and now it's a class 4, in my opinion. This is my opinion. It could be, maybe I'm wrong. And you have to have class 4 skills to do it. So wearing yourself out and hitting the hole without a good push is class 3 boating. And this requires class 4 boating. Would pulling and having weight in the front rather than the back of the boat help? Pulling would help, but if I'm pulling, I want the weight in the stern. I want to punch that thing. I wouldn't want to pull it with weight in the front. I don't think. But yeah, pulling would help. Okay, let's look at this other video. Oh, I think that's it. Nope, that's it. Here's another video. Same place. Is this the same place? Yeah, same place. So same thing. This is the exact same thing. There's no need to be pushing right now. Like these strokes right now are doing nothing. You're not building speed. And so you basically worn yourself out. He's going at an angle. And he actually pulls on that right oar there to straighten the boat up, which is pulling him back in the wave. So yeah, it's just applying this. We're just applying class 3 boating to a class 4 rapid. And this is what happens. If it was me, I'd spin around backwards and then right there. Back a second. Sorry. The key is you should be pushing right now. Once you hit it, you grab water and push through it. He basically took a stroke a little bit too early. Right. That stroke right there, he's taking right there, needs to happen right as he hits the wave. Because now he hits the wave and now he's pulling on his right oar, and that looks like I might have pulled him back. Again, you could probably downstream ferry. So like right here, I mean, without being there, I mean, maybe this is bigger than it looks. That little boat is tough. There's maybe a way to break this lateral and catch this eddy. Or maybe there's a way like up here. Let's go back. There's a way maybe. Let's go back. There's probably a way to break through something here in a downstream ferry. Although I'm doing the best I can without seeing that, what to do. So I feel like there was one more video here that I'm missing. Let's see if I can find it. Nope, I watched that one. Let's see. Watch that one. Sorry, I'm trying to find this. I think they sent 3 videos. Maybe it only sent 2. Yep, those are them. So I think what happened was, and this is happening everywhere. Like I was just on the Middle Fork, and there's a new rapid, a Velvet. Rapids change, and people did this, so it's a bummer. But rivers change; they get harder. That's the nature of rivers. And what used to be class 3 is now class 2 is now class 4. And people that have like class 2, 3 skills are going into it. And all these people who are like, I gotta push my moves, I gotta push into eddies, I gotta push. That technique's just not flying here. This is class 4 boating. If you want to be a class 4 boater, you need to be able to push, you need to be able to pull, you need to be able to downstream ferry. If you're just pushing all the time, you're not a class 4 boater. In my mind, maybe so. Okay, here we go. I watched a video of you running Blossom Bar just before cleaning for the first time myself. Oh, thanks. Oh, that's nice. Let's see. Is that the link? Courtney, I can't make that work for some reason. Oops, I just made a mistake. Can't make that link work. It won't let me cut and paste it. Okay, so I just watched a video of you running Blossom while swirling in. Cool. Okay. Anyway, so to answer, let's get back to our question here. Do higher flows, blah, blah, blah. Videos show the wave. What's the question here again? Did I answer it? Was there a question here? Or is this just a comment? Scout wave. I guess I'm missing. Looks like I'm supposed to analyze what to do. Yeah, I mean, I thought I saw some of the downstream ferry. But anyway, yeah, sometimes on video, like it's pretty obvious, like do a downstream ferry there, it's going to work. And you get there in person, you're like, oh, that's actually super messy. So I don't want to tell anybody a downstream ferry, for sure. You have to make a decision on your own based on your skill. But that was not a place to learn how to downstream ferry. The consequences are too large. Practice it on like class 2. All those years you're running this as a class 2 section. If you just push it the whole time, you didn't get better. And if we want to go back to the first question, how do I go from class 3 to 4 or even 2 to 3? Try new things out. Push into an eddy, pull into an eddy, do a downstream ferry, catch eddies. Like if you're just memorizing lines and doing the same thing over and over and over, it's going to affect you when the river changes. And we have to accept like rivers change. And this one changed. And if you want to continue to recreate it, you probably need to be at a higher skill level to run the new section of river. Bury the deeps. Yep, great. You just want to put those oars in and push through that wave. You're going to hit it and you're going to push slow. Don't do it like this for a minute beforehand. Just nice, slow warm-up strokes. Get the rhythm and bam, into the wave and just push through it. Get those oars deep. That's the key. Jay, you should be hosting the show. Okay, next question. Oh, we're now on the ask a question form. Yeah, so this is some good advice about the form that we have for asking questions. I'm going to try to make it better. I'm sorry I'm not a computer whiz, but I'll get better at some point, and the form is going to be brilliant and have tons of space, and maybe it'll even have like allow you to bold and all kinds of stuff. So hopefully I answered everybody's questions. I'm about to log off here. If you have any more questions, ask them now before I go. The road Friday show with the road disappeared. You're going to post it. I'm not. I felt like I feel like the camping issues on the road are really complex and nuanced. And I feel like we were casting it as this private versus commercial thing. And it really isn't. And that's my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. I've been working on this for a long time. But I feel like that show turned into a private versus commercial talk. And this is a topic that's really important to me because I have crews out there on the river every week who we need to find campsites. It's a better trip when people we see are nice. There's a lot of animosity on the road. And so, people float by and don't even say hello, or they purposely try to take your camp out of spite. And there's a lot of bad feelings out there. And I felt like the Friday show just stoked those flames. I was really disappointed in the show. I was really bummed. We did a really bad job of that topic. And I don't think, and every time I bring this topic up, I get cast as like the evil outfitter trying to take the best campsites. I should stop talking about this topic publicly because no matter what I say and how hard I try to like explain, and I truly care about all river users, but I somehow get cast as the outfitter who doesn't want to let people do it. So I think I'm going to stop talking about this publicly, but continue to attend meetings and continue to communicate at certain venues about it when I can talk to people one-on-one, face-to-face. But it's not a topic I want to cover again online. And I felt like we did a really bad job. And that video would have made the problem worse. And so I think please just, when you go on the road, recognize there's considerate people and there's inconsiderate people. And there are guidelines we should follow. But the BLM they don't really enforce these guidelines, and they don't always communicate the guidelines. And so there's a lot of misinformation, and it's the system we have. And all we can do is be nice to each other and try to be empathetic and try to communicate, work along with other people. So that's it. Okay. Yeah. It's a problem because people go on a trip and they see something that makes them mad and they come back fired up. And on your one trip, yeah, something Like you might have seen a lot of really bad practices and bad things. That doesn't mean it's happening all the time every summer there. It's just one example. Some people go on the river and have a great time, and camps are no problem. Everything works out great. It's not an issue. But one person gets fired up, and it just creates a lot of anger, and then it sticks. So I don't want to be a part of it. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. And so this is something Steve and I have been going to meetings about for 15 years. And so he understands the issue really well. We've gone and talked to private boater groups many times. We've been to like round table meetings where just different parties there talking it through. But I got kind of tired of Aaron, to be honest with you. And so I started getting grumpy. So I think didn't help. And yeah, that's good Steve was there. Okay, that's the end of this show. Thanks everybody for watching. We're not going to do a Friday show this week, but I think I'm going to do a members only Friday show too. So if you're a member, I'm going to probably put up some 2 o'clock. I have a lot of video of issues that I can't show on like regular YouTube because it gets hidden if it's a members only. It's not something it can't be shared if it's a members only thing. And so I have a lot of cool video of people having problems worth talking about. And so I'll probably do that up on there on Friday. Big B, that Boundary Creek, it keeps getting put off. I'm pretty sure that, let's see, what are the dates? Sometime in August, or no, sorry, July. Yeah, the dates where it's fully closed, the road, whatever it is, like August 5th through, I don't know the dates. The permanent closure is still on, but this temporary closure they keep putting down. So I'm not sure. Yeah, I got some really good video I want to share Friday from Velvet. So that's going to happen Friday. So thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for everybody who supports the show. Please like and subscribe. And yeah, we'll see you next time.